Okay, my lovelies, let's smash through these final 10 questions. It's late on a Friday evening. I'm ready to go home, and I'm sure that you are past papered out already. Which element is classified as a non-metal in the periodic table? Of course, it is chlorine. That's such an easy question. Gosh, I hope you get lots like that in your exam. Which statement about the periodic table is correct? Elements in the same group have the same number of electron shells. No, elements in the same period have the same number of electron shells. It contains elements that are arranged in order of increasing proton number. Yes, it does. Metals are on the right and non-metals are on the left. No, the other way around. The most reactive elements are at the bottom of every group. Not true. They're at the bottom of group 1, but the most reactive are at the top of group 7. The answer must be B. Which element is in the same period of the periodic table as silicon? So we just need to get our periodic table out. We need to look for germanium. Well, germanium is in the same group. It's not in the same period. Is it scandium? Scandium is in the same period as germanium. Is it sodium? Yes, sodium's in the same period, both in period 3. And is it strontium? No, strontium is not in the same period. Copper is a metallic element. Which statements about copper is correct? Copper is malleable because layers of ions are fixed in positions and cannot move. They are layers of ions, but if they were fixed in positions and couldn't move, then it wouldn't be malleable. The structure of copper consists of negative ions in a lattice. No. Copper conducts electricity because electrons can move through the metal. Yes. Electron holds copper ions together in a lattice by electrostatic attraction. Yes. So the answer must be 3 and 4. D. Perfect. The table gives some properties of an element. So it's got a high melting point, it's grey, its appearance of the chloride is dark blue, it's very dense, and it's a good conductor. Which other property would you expect this element to have? I think you would expect it to act as a catalyst, absolutely, because it seems to be a transition metal. Transition metals are malleable, they are not brittle. It would form a basic oxide because it's a metal. It's not going to be highly reactive with water. Look at that density. That's way too high for a group 1. The answer must be A. 46. Which row describes the properties of a typical transition element? Go in for any of them first, because go with the one you're most confident, but I'll go in with can act as a catalyst. Yes and yes for B and C, so I'm going to rule out A and D first. Does it form coloured compounds? Yes. It must be B. Let's just double check. Does it have a high melting point? Yes. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. 47. Some properties of element X are shown. It has a high boiling point and a high melting point, relatively high. Reaction with cold water, it gives off H2 gas. So we're talking a group 1 metal here probably, and it burns to give a white solid when it's heated with oxygen. Yeah, we're definitely talking group 1. So A, group 1, because nothing else gives off hydrogen gas when it reacts with cold water. In fact, not many other things. Some of the group 2s do react with cold water, but not many. You usually have to warm the water up a little bit. It's definitely not a group 7. It's definitely not a group 8. And it's not a transition element because white solid. It would be coloured if it was a transition element. 48. Sodium and rubidium are elements in group 1 of the periodic table. Which statement is correct? Sodium atoms have more electrons than rubidium atoms. Sodium and rubidium are in group 1 of the periodic table. So, yes, sodium has less electrons than rubidium atoms, sorry. Sodium has a lower density than rubidium. No, density increases down the group. So yes, sodium has a lower melting point than rubidium. As we go down the group, boiling points decrease. So no. Sodium is more reactive than rubidium. As we go down the group, reactivity increases. So no. B must be the answer. 49. Astatine is an element in group 7 of the periodic table. Astatine is less reactive than iodine, so we can rule out C and D. The melting point of astatine is greater than the melting point of iodine, and astatine is darker in colour. So higher, we can rule out B, and astatine is darker. So yes, A must be the answer. 50. Period of the periodic table is shown. The letters are not their chemical symbols. Important. That's why it's important to read the question. Which statement is correct? Element R does not conduct electricity. Well, that's nonsense because it's in group 1. So group 1 metals do conduct electricity. Element R and Y react together to form an ionic compound. Yes, they do. The group 1s love the group 7s. They are match made in heaven. Element Z exists as a diatomic molecule. No, it would be monatomic. And element Z reacts with element T. Element Z doesn't react with anything at all because it is a noble gas. The answer must be B. So that's it. Woohoo! We have finished. We have got through Mrs. Baker's monster papers together. Hallelujah. Well done, you.